Okay. Back with part 6, I believe, of Disco Elysium. Last time we had stopped in a bookstore, and I think I explored everything in the bookstore for now. Figured out that it's probably like a weird fascist occult bookstore or something. Also internalized, what is it, Mazovian socioeconomics. And it gives us a +4 experience bonus to left-wing dialogue choices, which I didn't think about it at the time, but I think for this system is actually kind of a lot. Have we gained another level yet? Because I'm not sure what level we are now, but I think every level up is about 100. So considering that, like an extra +4, and considering the average XP bonus I've seen is like 5, that's actually a pretty significant bonus. But I'm going to keep heading west. There's a guy on the staircase I didn't notice before. There's these things. Coin-operated viewer. This coin-operated viewer is facing southwest. Its coin slot is full of fossilized bubblegum, rendering the machine permanently inaccessible. Poor little viewer. The metal feels cold and wet under your palm. It looks unhygienic. Look inside. A thick layer of graffito covers the lenses. You spell out the word ONUC written on the other side, with N and C scribbled backwards. That's Kuno on the lens. Shift your focus to the background. Under the graffito, a sea of blues and grays appears. Behind the water lies a coast studded with concrete and reeds. On it, a church on stilts, lanky, weather-worn wooden planks, an X-shaped cross topping its tower. You know this to be the star of Paracarnassus, or Chi-Rho, the central symbol of the Paracarnassus Church, Paracarnassian Church. A star, a great moral height to be strived towards. The church looks old and weather-worn. There are no lights in the windows. Vandalism. Probably some kids. The lieutenant inspects the rigged slot. The ad reads, broken window? Dibs has windows. If you had a bag in your hand, I need a bag still. This is facing south. The instruction manual says to insert 25 centimes and pull the handle while looking inside. Then use the focus knob to zoom if necessary. Why place a tourist attraction in the middle of such poverty? What's the tourist attraction doing here? There was a revitalization project in '49. A design studio tried restoring Martinez to its pre-war glory. The lieutenant looks around and concludes, it didn't stick. It said I didn't stick, but just a few typos, I guess. What happened? They got as far as the street lamps and the statue on the intersection. Then something went sour. He lowers his voice. I suspect that something was Everett Clare, the union leader. He muscled them out. That's how it usually goes around here. Cool, I dig organized crime. It's the best. That's odd. I could swear you were a police officer. This probably won't work, but let's do it. Your money disappears into the coin slot. A clunk, the ring of metal. Pull the handle and look inside. The curtains on the display open. You lean in to catch the view. It's blurry, different blues and greens. In the middle of the shimmer stands a drab gray shape, like a ghost. Turn the knob to focus your vision. Hey, nice. The lenses shift. The ghost sharpens into an islet in the bay. In the ruins, a man-made structure is visible. A half-sunken sea fort, its concrete almost reconquered by nature. It looks as if it was abandoned quite some time ago. Nothing but a rotten tooth remained of the anti-aircraft tower. A lonely birch tree grows out of it. Its leaves ripped it. Its leaves ripped from it by the winter wind. Hang in there, little one. The little brave birch tree seems to wave back in the wind. Ah. There are ruins of some kind of the building there. Really? I don't have the eyesight to make it out. The lieutenant takes off his glasses and cleans them. What is this again? Roundabout north. Campsite apartments, Martinez Pier. Let's talk to this guy. Ooh, that looks like a bag. Better mouth your watch around me, boy. I need your bag. Give me your bag. Yellow plastic bag for it. Aw, yeah. Time to get all of the bottles. Does he have dialogue here? He's like looking for a reason. I can't click on him. Maybe he's just hanging out. Alright. Wait a second. I can't go to that trash can anymore. That's odd. So, Inland Empire is like... Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these are all max of 6 bonus. So that's my highest skill right now. I don't know what each one gives me a bonus of though. Psyche. Also, can I use a skill point to... So rigorous self-critique, that's going to take another almost 5 hours. I bet it's not going to give me that big of a bonus, even though it takes a while to research. Or to internalize. Do I have to hold this? Equip this to collect terror from the streets. Nope. Put that in my hand. Also, I got something. I can sell these. I can look at the map, that's what I need. The worn map features the patchwork grid of the streets of Martinez, with directions to appropriately touristy locations. Year 48 resides on the upper right corner. Trace a path through the grid. Shivers. Your finger moves through the various streets, across Rue de Saint-Ghislain and Rue de Saint-Crispert, over Saint Brune and Martinez North. Finally coming to a halt on the spot where you are currently standing, although the map gives no such indication itself. Tutorial agent. For a more detailed view of the map, go to your journal, then the map tab. Nice. Journal. And a map. Nice. Fisherman shacks. Pile of Eternite. Huh. Tommy Lahome. Renee Arnaud. Annette. Sleeping dock worker. Measurehead. Was that like a conceptualization check to internalize racism or something? Or 70s supremacy? Oh, now I can look in the trash can again. Okay. Excellent. Now I can see bottles and stuff with the bag equipped. I'm gonna be bottle rich. I'm gonna clean up these streets. Do they actually take up space in my inventory? Those items... I don't think they do. I wonder if the bag has infinite inventory. That's my song, that's it. Oh, to shit. Gonna clean up these streets, Kim. Oh, that's a very tiny bottle. Dang it. A lonely cormorant surveys the sea, indifferent to your approach. What is on that? Backyard wall. This is a wall on the side of an apartment building. Conceptualization impossible. Why am I looking at this wall? Conceptualization 4. Why am I looking at this wall? What did I just pick up? Conceptualization. That's intellect. Intellect, yeah. Let's see. Do I want to max out my chosen skill? Would that be worth it? Should I increase some of my worst skills? If I do more interfacing, I could maybe open up my clipboard. Get more empathy. What's volition? Hold yourself together, keep your morale up. That might be helpful. Take the blows, don't let the world kill you. Visual calculus. I mean, I might die. Screw it. Yep, that's what I'm going for. Accept changes in clothes. It's those kids again. Ooh, also necessary. This kid.
Are you trying to sneak up on me? Come to slit my throat in my sleep?
Logic error. She's not sleeping right now. Thanks, Logic.
Pigs come to take me out. Trying to snuff me out?
Are you sleeping right now? Don't get fucking clever with me, pig. You think you're so clever, she hisses. A garden hose. This won't be of use until the snow melts. There's a bunch of stuff up there. There's a person up there. Chairs and tables eaten by rain and rot. Orange bum hat. +1 to reaction speed, -1 to rhetoric. Nose of head. I do need that. Excellent. Just a closed door, but you look at it suspiciously. These barrels are half full of rainwater. There must be another way into the building. Cape Side Apartments. Ooh, to St. Kazan, one to Buck North. Inside, the frame of a motorcycle in repair and the tools used to disassemble it. There's a girl up there. Did she spill the paint? Locked. We're gonna be rich in bottles. Ooh, nice. Belly of this boat shines like it was recently painted. Oh, it's a treasure trove. Kim, get out of the way! You seem to be following me. Docking reserved for residents over to St. Ghislaine. Kim. Kim, why? Your room in the Whirling isn't much bigger than this sloop. This is worth more than you'll ever earn it in all of your life. Who's this guy? Oh. Joyce Messier. A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good afternoon, officers. I'm Joyce.
She extends her hand in greeting.
Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbor. You gentlemen must be from the RCM.
She steps closer and holds out her hand over the railing. Joyce L. What does the L stand for?
Leighton. My maiden name.
Her bony hand dangles from the sleeve of an oversized raincoat. RCM, what is that?
I meant you. The Revachol Citizens Militia. The police.
What gave us away?
Nothing, honestly. I've said it to every drunk in town, and you're the first one who's responded.
Damn. Relax, she meant it in jest. Shake her hand.
I'm glad to see you here.
Her grip is tight and cold.
I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
Thanks, Kim. There's a trace of irony in his voice. Mischief, even. The lieutenant is hatching some scheme.
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group.
It's hard to get a read on her precise disposition, but she appears helpful. You're on a boat. Why, yes I am. She looks at the deck under her feet. Green and white sails flutter overhead. Not a lot of people on boats, are there? Of course there are, she looks around. We are on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around? Wait, we're on an archipelago? So I guess we're like in an island world? Yes, we are. She raises her brow. We are on the Caillou. Caillou, I thought we were on Revachol. We are. And the city of Revachol is in the island of the Caillou. Still, I haven't seen anyone else sail a boat around here. I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kinema motor carriage either. Actually, the lieutenant becomes defensive. That motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle. It's for crossing long distances in the Greater Revachol Industrial Harbor. It's not a toy. Neither is this. The woman passed the cabin hardtop. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between the city and the islands. You need to make this lady admit she's only riding around on this boat because she's rich. Wait, what am I responding to? Oh, to this. Yes I do. Before you do, it would be pertinent to ask other questions. Gather more info on this boat of hers. Wait. Does she have a name? The boat? No. is called Corps d'Elite 19 because that's the type of sloop it is. The word it feels strange. Such a beautiful boat deserves a proper name. Cool, but your boat really needs a name. Okay, how about Corps d'Elite 19? Why? She taps on the side of the boat. It makes a hollow sound. Because it was manufactured in Revachol East by a company called Corps d'Elite, and its hull is 19 paces long. How about Dolores? Why Dolores? I don't know. It feels pretty. Well, it means nothing to me. I think I'll stick with the factory name. But thank you for the suggestion. What kind of boat is it? It's a pleasure craft. A 19-pacer. It also happens to be rated for Category 1 racing. Though these days I mainly use it for business. How do you like it? My sloop? I like it a lot. Her lips curl into a wry smile. It's the eel's hips, baby. I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder we're investigating. I really do, the lieutenant thinks. Is she thrown off yet? He's looking at the woman, assessing her. So Kim's being serious. Do you have a license for this boat? Officer, I assure you I'm a highly qualified pleasure craft operator. Her nonchalance might be related to something called the Wayfarer Act, a law that says she doesn't need a license. Sly Fox, you're not aggressive enough to harass her further on this. Let's talk about the economics of this boat you're on. Oh my, the E word, she crosses her arms. You mean to say that it's a symbol of conspicuous consumption? That I'm a member of the ruling class? Precisamundo. Detective, may I remind you that Mrs. Messier is a professional negotiator? He doesn't look like he thinks he'll best her in single combat. Then what does that say? She points to the plaque on the side of the pier. Does it say docking reserved for residents of Rue St. Ghislaine 33A? 33A, this old proletarian haunt here. She waves at the ruin looming overhead. As I said, plenty of people drive boats. All social strata. Damn, 28%. I got this. She takes a sip. It's gonna happen. Okay, she takes a sip. Something is about to happen, points to your head, in here. Of course. Nothing happens. For quite a while. It will come from my head, the arguments. As they do. The thoughts happen inside his brain, the lieutenant explains. Thanks for that. Wave your hand next to your head. It'll help. It doesn't. Keep waving your hand slowly. My, she inspects the motion. It's as if there is a tiny spinner on the side of his head, and he's reeling thoughts out. Except he isn't. The lieutenant is satisfied with where this is going. A thought is going to come out of my head and into my mouth, and I will say it. Of course. Keep doing it. No! Lieutenant, I truly don't understand what is happening here. I told you his methods are unconventional. I swear to God I'm usually sharp. I don't know what happened. Why am I not killing it? Actually, that was a yellow check. Are yellow checks like the dexterity thing? That's probably why I'm not killing it. Your marble's on glass, dear. Don't worry. What were we talking about anyway? It was quite a while ago, but I think... She looks around. Yes, we were discussing my fast, large, ineluctably middle-class boat. I think I have a handle on the boat thing. Good. She takes a sip of her thermal cup. So what's Wild Pines do? What we do, I'm afraid, I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking. There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent. So what did they do? The Pines' core competency is logistics, container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. She points to the small dots on the horizon. See those airships there blinking? Those are shipping side of things. Then to the east, with the harbor. And that's the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil, and gas exploration. Offshore platforms. The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes, companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes remain. Where are the other Indo-tribes? Saint Baptiste, LUM, an unknown entity known as Brightest Star. You're in good company, it seems. Why, thank you. She does not register the real meaning of the remark. How much money does Wild Pines have? I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue. A billion? A failure. I don't know what a billion is. Wow. 20 billion is a large number, but the conglomerate employs 72,000 people. They all need to be paid. Then there are capital improvements, interest payments. A wave hits the sloop. She grasps the mainstay for balance. A conglomerate the size of the Wild Pines is like a shark. If it stops moving, it will die. Then what becomes of those 72,000 families? It's a tremendous responsibility. Where does Wild Pines get all those billions? They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samoan and Insulindian Islas 250 years ago, when pine ships explored the South Seminoles and charted Lo Manthang on behalf of the suzerain. Centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it. Probably helps to start out with a royal monopoly. You know more than you let on. She takes a sip and looks you over afresh. Certainly it helped, but most of the original Indo-tribes have failed or been absorbed. To survive, Wild Pines had to grow and adapt. No suzerain did that. What does such a huge system want with a place like this? You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners, she gives you a little smile, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo? You don't keep moving, the workers do. The company is nothing without them. We built this district, she says calmly. We, there it is. She owns up to it. All the best parts of it. Rue de Saint-Gazan with its bastions, the plaza's Medioran mosaic. Even some of the old street lamps have been put back thanks to investments from the WP. She points behind you where the seawall rises. Before Martinez was swallowed up by the industrial harbor, even before it was part of Revachol, long before Terminal B was erected here, the Pines built it as a resort for its Revacholian employees. +5. A company getaway, for a weekend or a summer holiday. Then came the revolution, but that's another matter. She takes a sip. I'm here to make sure the Pines can fulfill their responsibilities to the place they built. With your help, hopefully, says her warm tone. What can you tell me about the strike? Everything, she smiles. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets. What if I want to hear the trade secrets? First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade and Ailments that gave me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus. I will slay it. Good luck, it's only kept in place by the vested interests of half the civilized world, including your own. What the man means is that the Emergencies Act and the RCM both get their authority from the coalition government. You'd be shooting yourself in the foot, in other words. Leave it alone. But I am derailing us. You wanted to know about the strike. What's your role in this? I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to the Wild Pines, and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer. And how are the talks going? They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place. Now they won't even let me into the harbor. There's a 2.20-meter racist behemoth blocking the gates. 2.2 meter? 2.20? I don't know. Blah, whatever. Bad at math. Oh, you mean Measurehead. Yes, Jean-Luc Measurehead. She leans back and rolls her eyes. How are the talks going before the lynching? Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived. And when you did first arrive? I arrived 3 weeks ago, she thinks. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM. He looks at his notes. But the strike began in December. I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit the wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont, despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations. This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike. Heavens no, there have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive. Ludicrous, even, it's meant. What happened to this Gaumont? Mr. Clare told him to... How did he put it? She pauses to compose herself. Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see. Cool. Yes, extremely. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before and who is more than fair with him and the union. What are their demands? There are leaflets everywhere and banners. What did they say again? Oh, yes. Every worker, a member of the board. Most of the workers probably don't know what that means. I like it. I mean, it doesn't really make too much sense, but then you might also like the other slogan, Demand Democracy. Not hard communist enough for me. Personally, I agree. It lacks the pizzazo of every worker a member of the board. What exactly is the demand, though? It's quite simple. You see, every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about what, about anything really, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Barton A terminal. Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, but they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group. The king is dead, long live the workers. That may well be. It's not up to me to decide who is king, but as negotiations go, it's not a swell start. So what are you going to do? I'm not sure. Naturally, I assume that this was just their opening position, a hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery, but there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear, behind the Whirling-in-Rags, a disastrous situation, if there ever was one. Excuse me, the lieutenant looks up from his notes. From whom did you hear about this lynching? Her reply comes quick. I first heard it from the boya at the gates, the one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, call me mañana? The scabs at the gate, did you put them there? The scabs? She raises her brow. You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock come to plead for the work where the union refuses to. If they were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not right now, at least. It's implied she's open to discussing this matter with you at a later occasion. Interesting. So tell me about the union boss. Everett Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first. Really? Of course not. Everett is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he was a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood. I'm sure he's a good guy. He is the most corrupt individual I've ever seen. I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar. Wait, there are two of them? Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everett does. And when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see. With funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues. What about the union itself, outside the Brothers Clare? The Débardeur Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. She adjusts her hair. Organized labor at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The Brothers Clare came and transformed it into... How do you say? She hesitates, looking for the right expression. A mob. The lieutenant says succinctly, the Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, I suspect we'll be forced to cooperate with them. Refreshingly honest, officer, she nods. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everett and his brother. She turns to you. And your opinion, detective? If I may ask, I'm a curious and talkative person, you see, she explains. Would you say the Débardeurs Union is... I have never talked to any part of them, so... I don't have an opinion yet. Of course, officer. What happened in the elections? I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the union. She disappeared. Disappeared? Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore, or coming to work, ever. End of story. Eerie. Downright haunting, if you ask me. The Wild Pines suspected foul play, but what could they do? It was a union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with them. Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine. That's all I need here. Let's change the topic. And... so what about the lynching? Quite a few things, I'm afraid. She falls silent for a moment, contemplating something. Secret task complete. Interview the Wild Pines rep. Interesting. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers. Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. The lieutenant hands her a piece of blue plastic. I'm Lieutenant Kitsuragi from Precinct 57. He points to you. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at this moment. I hope mine will suffice. How curious. She returns the lieutenant's badge and turns to you. Why is that, detective? Awkwardness washes over the conversation. The woman doesn't like this turn of events. Remember when my partner told you I'd recently suffered from an unusual medical episode? My lost badge is related to it. I see. She looks increasingly worried. So are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode? Yeah. I can't hear you, darling. Speak up, please. I could have eaten it for all I know. Oh, dear. She sighs with compassion, sadness even. I suppose this does explain some of the more curious turns in our conversation. She must have been suspecting something for a while now. As I said, ma'am, Lieutenant interjects. His technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM. Joyce's info on the lynching. Of course, I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge. Hang on. She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement. Hey, I can negotiate my way out of this. What? 92%! It's XCOM all over again. Suggestion, failure, feelings will guide the way. But madame, I need to know about this lynching. It's very important to me. It's the case I'm solving. I assure you it is no small matter for me either. We all share the responsibility for disarming the situation. I hope you have a badge for me as soon as possible. You don't understand. It's not like a side case for me. This is my main thing. You have so much else. I have only this. Spread your hands. This is the entirety of my existence. She's silent. The wind flaps the sail above her. This boat, for example. At home somewhere. I only have this case. No! Officer, the carbon fiber hull creaks. I don't remember anything except this lynching. There's only this coast and this lynching. You know, she points her foot on the guard wire. I don't mean to sound cold, but if you want something, you have to give something back. More than just guilt. You're doing it. Despite your own best efforts, you're still getting in somehow. I'll be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want to see something tangible. Like what? The Union is conducting drug trade out of the harbor. It's an open secret in Martinez. Surely it must not come as a complete surprise to the RCM either. Perhaps it's time to look into it. Or you could find your badge, which, honestly, seems like a lost cause. Detective, Lieutenant closes his notebook. A word in private before we continue. Excuse us for a moment, madam. Shadows on the water, green plants under the column surface.
This is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective.
Lieutenant's voice is hushed. How did you hope it would go? Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance, and, you know, not volunteer us to be her henchmen. Oh, so we're henchmen now. This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along, or she's simply an adept improviser. Either way, we've played straight into her hands. He doesn't let it show, but there's a limit to how much the consequences of your unprofessional behavior can cost the investigation. I mean, we could just find my badge. Oh, he nods slowly. That would be fantastic. But do we have the time? The world is large, and your badge is 8 by 6 centimeters. The situation might have changed drastically by the time you locate it. Time is of the essence. You could request a new one from your station, but that would literally take months. I mean, if the Union is doing a drug trade, I don't know, maybe it's important? No. If there is reasonable suspicion, we must investigate. Otherwise, she could claim that we're siding with the Union, or that we're on their take. We'd never hear the end of it. What I propose is, we ask her, then we investigate. Briefly, he adjusts his glasses, but do not share the outcome of this investigation with her. We tell her it's done, and demand for her information on the lynching. Alright, I'm sorry for putting us in this situation, I'll handle it. I'm sure you will, Detective. Let's get back to it.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
Could ask her about this reality as well. And ask for her money. Alright, tell me about this alleged drug trafficking. It's quite straightforward. Someone is using Terminal B to smuggle raw ingredients from the Samar and Isola into Revachol with the Union's blessing. Wild Pines is suspected for years. Ingredients for what, ma'am? Meth and dextroamphetamine, GBL, and various synthetic psychedelics. Honestly, it might be quicker to say what you can't make from the stuff. So let me get this straight. The materials come from Samara to Revachol through the terminal? Yes. After they clear the terminal, we lose track. The actual production is taking place at various sites in and around Jamrock Quarter, north of here. Wild Pines seems to be well praised at the local drug trade, ma'am. Do you mean to say that the Union also produces the product? Sells drugs, I mean. We're in logistics. It's our business to know, and no. As far as the company knows, the Union does not produce it. They transport the ingredients for a cut. And you want us to investigate? Yes, but you won't get anything out of Everett and the Dockworkers Union. Still, she raises her bony finger, every chain has its weak link. The handoff, the motor lorries at the roundabout. Am I going to need bolt cutters for this? Unlikely, officer. I'm talking about the lorries. Once the ingredients reach Jamrock, they're distributed to a network of local manufacturers, well beyond our grasp. But in transit, they may be vulnerable. Perhaps you've noticed that a number of lorries are tangled in a traffic jam at the roundabout just now. Interview the drivers who are still hanging about. One of them might be waiting for a crucial shipment. She gives you a knowing look. I'll be explicit. If you find this driver, I will share company secrets with you. What proof do you have that the Union is involved? How do you think they're financing this strike? There are thousands of unpaid dock workers going strong for the 4th month straight. There was a shakedown of local business preceding the strike. Many were squeezed to bankruptcy to fund it. With all due respect to the desert cacti, the contents of a few cash registers cannot provide for 2,000 men. The local businesses can scarcely provide for themselves. So you think the strike is being funded as a source of ingredients for drugs? Precisely. Smuggled out of that very gate at night, most likely. Then loaded onto lorries and driven to Jamrock. You simply need to find one driver who will open up to you. Sounds like she tried looking into it herself, though she's clearly not the type your typical lorryman would confide in. Let's see. It's no coincidence the lorries are stranded there like that, is it? No. We asked East Motor Track to raise the drawbridge. The road company is a partner of one of our subsidiaries. However, she pauses, looking at the sea. This is a limited time opportunity. Once the complaint has been processed by the trade committee, they'll have no choice but to lower the drawbridge, and the operation will continue. Thousands of liters of raw ingredients will pour into the streets of Revachol. Not the east, across the river, but the west. The vulnerable, the weary. Well, at least this solves one mystery. What is that, Lieutenant? Why I had to call East Motor Tract and beg them to open the drawbridge for me. I'd wondered since I first drove in on my motor carriage. I'm sorry for the inconvenience, Lieutenant Kitsuragi, but we need them trapped there. This is a unique opportunity. I'm sure you understand. And why didn't you go to the RCMRO? We did, on more than one occasion. Apparently there's some sort of inter-precinct disagreement about whose jurisdiction this area falls under. We know the company has launched its own probe into the Union's alleged involvement. We also know it's come up empty. It's not just the OCM. No one's been able to find any hard evidence. Well, she smiles and points toward the roundabout. Here's your chance, officers. Okay, I've made up my mind about this smuggling. Is this ending? Yeah, we'll accept the case. Excellent. She takes a long sip of tea. According to my reports, there are at least 3 lorry drivers lingering near the roundabout. Hopefully one of them will know something. It may come to nothing, or it may just blow the case wide open. I can keep the drawbridge up for a few more days at least. You should have the time that you need. In the meantime, let me know if there's any other way I may be of assistance. She takes another long sip from her seemingly bottomless thermal cup. You seem smart. Tell me about the reality. This reality? She pulls her hood closer around her neck. Yes, reality is your side case. An experimental side case. The aim is to gain a deeper understanding. Oh, legendary success. It's related to that medical episode. I'm having trouble remembering even the most basic terms of reality. Ah yes, the episode. Sounds like an acute case of encephalopathy now that I think about it. She puts down her thermal cup and looks at you. Don't be fazed, madam. He functions perfectly well. He only needs a lowdown on all of reality. We may be here a while then. She takes a long sip of tea. Ask away, officer. I'll help however I can. Alright, we're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay? Where are we? Oh. Ooh, that's a very low chance. Where are we? We're in Martinez, baby. What is Martinez? Martinez is a district of Revachol. She looks around, her green raincoat flapping in the wind. A very small district tucked away near the industrial harbor, north of the 8/81 in Jamrock. 881? You'd be excused for not knowing about it. Unimportant, they say. Forgotten, even. Shelled to smithereens during the revolution. She shrugs. It has its charms, just not this time of year. Tell me more about Martinez. I'm not a good ambassador. I've only been here once before as a teenager. Not a lot has changed. She closes her eyes. There are ruins, a terminal, fishing boats, reeds, boys with boxy shoulders. As I told you, Martinez used to be a province. A workers' resort before the city swallowed it and the artillery did its part. Now the reeds are the real star of the show here. The further down the coast, the wilder it gets. And you mentioned a sea? What sea is this? It's not really a sea, it's the Bay of Revachol, and the bay feeds into the ocean. Are we near the ocean? Yes, we are on an island in an ocean, the world's largest body of water, the Insulindic. Known to the early Revacholians as Les Immensities Bleues, the Blue Immensities. Vast, lukewarm, and unknowable, flowing in and out of sight. What's the name of this island? Caillou, as you already know. She looks to the waters. Imagine a pebble. A smoothed-over pebble amidst a great blue sea. Misshapen, cracked. The cracks are the river Esperance. We're in the delta of this river, on the 6th branch, the Martinez distributary. It is clear this pebble is of enormous value to her, and to humanity at large. Okay, that's Martinez. What's Revachol? Revachol is what you call a city. What kind of city is Revachol? The great kind. As if it's self-explanatory beyond patriotism. In fact, what makes Revachol great? History detective, they built the city to resolve history. Our part in it, at least. Our centuries. Okay, who built the city? Rock and roll. The nations of the Occidents, or migrant workers from Semnine and Lamara, depending on your creed. When was Revachol built? In the DeLorean century, 380 years ago. Why will it resolve history? They say it's where the terrible questions of our time will be answered. The tensions are highest, the fault lines deepest. By that I mean conflicts. Ideological conflicts, the stuff of men. Why here? We are standing on a fertile, self-sufficient island able to sustain up to 200 million people in the middle of the Insulindic Ocean, the world's connective tissue. She smiles. It's where the money is. So we're in an unimportant part of an important place. I think it's fair to say so. Martinez is about, she points across the water, where the skyscrapers rise. 22 kilometers from the center of the world. That soldering iron is the Bank of the World building. The bottom floors are Intercom, Coalition Government, Insulindian Mission Command. Look to the sea. Silence. She lowers her hand. The water, the light, It's as though you're seeing it for the first time. There is no recognition, only the immensity of the sea and the cold radiating from it. Where are we? Thought gains. Jamais-vu? Derealization? We are where we are. I have no truer answer to give you, unfortunately. She watches you closely as you scan the horizon. This is one thought you need to complete. Where are you? Was there something else you wanted to know? I remember something about a lowdown. This has been informative, thank you, man. I'm sure my memory-impaired partner has many more questions to ask. He turns to you, about even more fundamental aspects of reality. Might I suggest not asking them all right now? Ma'am Messier will be here later too, and tomorrow. Isn't that true, ma'am? Absolutely. My commitment here is long-term. Alright, we'll do it later. He nods. It's better not to eat all your candy at once. What is... RCM authority comes from coalition. Yeah, that's all for now. Give me some money. Is what you want to say, but it isn't that easy, is it? What? Why not? Look at that lady. Take a gander. Squint your eyes, bub. What nice fabrics. Why, yes. Tucked away under the sturdy green raincoat, almost rustic in its simplicity, a silk shirt and matching scarf around her gentle throat. While dull orange pearls hang from her earlobes, red from cold, her light green eyes scan you, full of knowledge and worry, wealth and all its possibilities. These are the kind of eyes of the rich man that seem to say, everything is possible. Within reason. Yeah, so? Now look at you. You misery-clad simian, barely able to tie your own laces. Your armpits are lakes, a scythe of booze precedes you, your hair sticks to your forehead, and your underwear feels uncomfortable. You're poor. Poor as balls. You can't ask this person for money. You're too... I'm a goddamn working man. I'm not ashamed to shake this leech for Sendo. You think your little communism protects you from this feeling? No, the more demeaning it is to grovel at her feet. As I was saying, her voice breaks the silence and suddenly you're back again. Nearby, a seagull pecks at the pieces of garbage. If there's any way I may be of assistance, please don't hesitate to ask. I have enough volition to ask for money. Voila, you're doing it. You seem rich. Can I have some money? Why, yes, I am rich. How much money do you need? Hopefully not too much. I couldn't bring all of it with me. She's surprisingly nonchalant about this. Could it be that she somehow knows more about your predicament than she's letting on? I need a billion real. Excuse me, sir. I don't have a billion real. I mean, she said the company had 20 billion or something. That was the annual revenue of the entire Wild Pines group, not my personal fortune. Try again, dear. A little lower this time. Alright, give me 10,000. Come now, nobody carries that much cash on their person, particularly in a place like Marnay. I'd get robbed. And even if I did, I still would not give you 10,000 real. I'd rather buy something nice with it. Like expensive hi-fi or a new hydrodynamic E40 sale. Her tone makes clear that you violated some kind of rich person taboo. Wouldn't be the first time. Hi-fi. I like high-fidelity disco music too. I like high-fidelity anything, sir. She gives you a fast little smile. Now try again, but lower. I need 70 real. That's a good sum. Not too small, not fantastically large like a billion. She reaches into her raincoat, pulls out a zip bag made of see-through plastic. Hey, nice. She removes a few notes and hands them to you. The paper is cold and oily to the touch. Whoa, whoa. Did you see how easy that was? Asked for more. Toot toot, train to Moneytown. Nay, 'twould be dishonorable, and mine honor is my life. Can I have some more? This may seem like odd behavior for a police officer, ma'am, but it's perfectly common side effect of his... He squints at you. Unusual medical episode? Hey, got another one. It's alright, Lieutenant. The woman dips her fingers back into the bag. I really did bring as little cash as with me as possible to avoid attention, so here you are. The last bit of filthy lucre I can share. So, she returns the zip bag to her jacket. I hope I didn't just bribe you, officer. It may not be technically illegal under the Emergency Act, but still. Funny that you worried about this, not your ruthless exploitation of the entire human race. You're right, ma'am, that donations are permitted under the Emergency Act, unseemly as it may be, as long as they're properly logged with the precinct. Which he most certainly will do, she bows, and then raises a single eyebrow in your direction. Now, how else can I help the RCM today besides supplementing its salaries? I think I'm done with this for now. Of course, Detective, take care. So that was lucrative. Shouldn't have to actually, looks like there's more construction here once decades ago. So it took a while, but I gained, what was it? 71 bucks. Orange bum hat. Bum brain. The Jam Mystery. Okay, so have a new investigation. Won't be able to find out her info on the lynching until I finish that investigation. Learned more about reality. And... Je me veux, derealization. Revachol Special Administrative Region, Lake Cayuse, the Insular Indian Ocean, Coalition Government, Insular Indian Mission Command. Name after name, and none of them is familiar. They seem real, but something is wrong. You feel like a kid looking at stickers on the fridge. Wont, the Apricot Company, World Games 34. You can almost see your hand reaching out for them. Scratch the corners, see if they peel loose. This feels like the most important of all the thoughts. The one you truly must complete. Huh, I could do that in almost 3.5 hours. That might be interesting. But yeah, I think I'm going to end it here. It was a little bit over an hour, but learned a little bit more about the world. Learned about the Union. Still haven't talked to anyone in the Union yet, but it sounds like they're corrupt as shit. May have been involved with the murder somehow. And yeah, so I'm going to end it here. Pretty productive, at least for this playthrough, I suppose. So until next time, have a good one. Take care.